Hello, my name is Sofia Guridi and I will present to you our project called Arpilleras Parlantes. The following project presents how electronic textiles or eTextiles can approach a traditional textile craft, particularly arpilleras, and how each field contributes to each other from a symbolic, material, and technical perspective. We started with the question on how eTextiles can influence the creation of soft interactive interfaces that enhance the communicative character and cultural heritage of a craft, and what is the potential of their use in a pedagogical context by using a specially designed kit. So we framed the project with participatory approach methods and STEM guidelines to put these two worlds of knowledge into an educational program. Our study suggests that connecting technology with a strong cultural identity craft can help to reach new audiences, revitalize the traditional technique, and create new tools for expression and creativity. So we started with the concept of computational crafts, which help us to understand how crafting and computational media are merging and how both cultures are benefiting from each other. In the world of textiles, new materials such as conductive yarns and fiber optics led to the development of eTextiles or electronic textiles, which is electronics embedded into textile structures so we can create new soft interfaces to process information and communicate the body with the environment. Artists such as Amor Muñoz have been working with these new technologies with local communities in Mexico, creating, for example, these woven shoes with solar panels embedded into them. In these cases, ethnocomputing addresses the issue of considering local particularities and allow technological development without undermining local cultures and traditions. In our case, we choose to work with arpilleras, which is a technique that was born in Chile during the 70s, first as a way of so women could generate new incomes for their families using cheap materials such as wool yarns and potato sacks, but then it became a really powerful media for communicating the horrors of the Chilean dictatorship. So as you can see in this piece that is portraying a true fact, you can see how two young students are getting burned by the police. Nowadays, this technique has still a lot of relevance in collective memory and cultural heritage, and is maintained mainly by women, and particularly elderly women, which are struggling to transfer this knowledge into new generations, even though there is interest, but there are still smaller groups. So we thought, considering that eTextiles has this characteristic of processing information, we thought arpilleras has a really interesting communicative dimension, which can be a support to portray local identities in testimonies. And also it is an easy entry technique that allows personal exploration in the creation of the stories and technique transformations. So to unify these two worlds, we decided to work in an educational context, and particularly following STEAM guidelines, which is a framework for interdisciplinary education. Our methodology was based on participatory action research approach and collaborative design methods, such as co-creation workshops, prototyping, pilot sessions, where a very interdisciplinary team of people work together, like from designers to educators. So the first step was to contact a group of expert artisans and invite them to participate. So this group was Arpilleristas de Melipilla, which is composed by 10 women from 40 to 90 years old that have been working together from the 70s and were really interested in trying new techniques and new projects. For the educational part, we work with Programa Talentos Peñalolén, which is a after-school program for kids in low-income areas of Santiago, and that teach them knowledge that is not in the main curriculum. So there was a group of 14 kids that then went to 12 of 14 years old with no previous experience in those topics. So to gain some more contextual understanding and to see how we could approach arpilleras with eTextile technologies, we led a co-design workshop with the artisans where we designed a piece together thinking which kind of stories we wanted to communicate with the craft, and how, in this case, sound or movements or lights could add more layers of information to these narratives. So we end up with a big piece which taught us a lot about how to construct it and how it could transform from a technical point of view, but also a symbolic point of view. With this knowledge, we transfer it to the structure of the course and which contents we will teach the kids and in which way. So the main thing was to consider that the kids will get more motivated if they were working towards a final piece, and when we told them that they will be exhibiting in a museum. And after each class, they had a little exercise they could take home and show to their parents. With the structure ready, we start designing this specially material kit, which was developing through prototyping with low-cost equipment from Fab Lab Universidad de Chile and tested by the team and then sent to production. The final kit was put together on a canvas bag to enable a group of people to work together on the same piece. This one composed mainly on textiles, which are the ones used by the artisans, like wool yarns and polyester fabrics, electronics with sensors, actuators, and microcontrollers, and visual support. The main challenge of the kit was to communicate that these materials that usually are not together could actually work together in a compelling and not complex way. So we started the project. During 2 months, we worked together with the kids once a week, and we divide them into 3 groups. So the first part of the course was to show them about the arpilleras. So for that, we asked the artisans to give the classes so the kids could know not just about the technique, but also about the motivations behind the craft and about the heart that the artisans put in it and why it is so important. Then the kids learn about computing, coding and electronics using the microcontroller, basic inputs and outputs, and to understand what they could do with them already related to the textile pieces, so it could make more sense for them. Then we thought about, okay, we have all these new tools, so what story we want to tell? So we asked them to think about their experiences, their context, what has happened to them lately in their lives, so what's the story they wanted to tell? And with those stories already designed, the kids started to embroider the circuits, embroider the pieces of fabric, coding, and they were changing the task so every kid could experience every step of the way. So our final pieces, here you can see one is about a food truck of sopaipillas, which is a really typical food in Chile. So the kids wanted to show their daily mornings before they go to school with this food truck. So when you touch it, you can hear the music that is calling for the people to go and buy them. And you see the mountains and the school, which is a very typical structure of the arpilleras composition. Then you have this story about the park where the kids showcase this love story where a man just broke up with his girlfriend and his heart is broken. So when you touch the man, you can see his heart pumping with the lights. But there are also interesting elements like this LGBTQ flag that appear because the kids were talking about tolerance and their struggles, and that they wanted to showcase that this is really good and with a positive message. So when you touch the flag that has a capacitive sensor, you can hear a cheerful music. And finally, this burning house was related to something that the kids saw in their neighborhood and they were really impacted by. So you can see the flames, and there is this little hamster that is so afraid that he's trembling. So the kids didn't saw the motor just like as a motor, like as a mechanical thing, but as an interaction enabler, like it's showing some gestures. So it's really expressive. So regarding the findings, the first thing we saw is that from a technical perspective, the eTextile technology added new layers of complexity to the craft with new steps such as circuitry and coding, but maintaining the same codes based on the contact with the soft materials and hands-on work. From a symbolic point of view, it enriched the communicative aspect, providing to be a flexible support that enables new creators to have personalized stories and engage the viewers with new interactive way. This is related to the communication aspect, but according to the artisans, the pieces are even more alive now because the users or the viewers are interacting in a new way. Now they just don't see it, they can touch it and feel it, the vibrations, and hear it. Selecting a cultural strong craft didn't only enable us to approach a new technology with soft materials, but also added a layer of cultural heritage, collective memory, and motivations behind the creations that gave the students a frame to develop the work. And finally, having a specially designed kit guided the process in a really fluent way and communicated that these tools could work together, and there was not an even emphasis on different kinds of knowledge. To end regarding the discussion, we think this project differentiates from other computer-focused projects that use textiles as means to connect with students and to give them computer science knowledge. But in those cases, textiles don't have a relevant position in terms of crafts, history, and technique. For us, including craft in a deeper way, inviting expert artisans to participants can present an opportunity to generate a bigger impact regarding the transmission of knowledge and new tools for creation in a specific cultural context. And we really think we created new tools for creative expression. Thank you very much.